This is an ADC warning. The crimes you're about to see are true. Only the names were changed to protect the ignorant. Tonight, you'll see a dumb criminal who thinks he's lucky. Actual footage of a sting you won't believe, and a rat who gets caught in his own trap. All this and more on America's Dumbest Criminals. Welcome to America's Dumbest Criminals. I'm Daniel Butler. You know as well as I do that crime of any sort is just plain stupid. But some criminals stand out from the crowd in the depth and profundity of their idiocy. Join us now in shaking the rotten fruit from the tree of life as we open the files on America's Dumbest Criminals. First up, a man with soap in his ears comes clean, and Junior takes a bubble bath.
Initially, we got a 911 call from a woman who had been out running errands and so forth, and came home and found that her front door had been locked from the inside. So it was her belief, logically, that someone was inside her home. Our officers responded and managed to get through the back door, at which time they found evidence to suggest that the back door had been forced open. And upon entering the house, found several articles of value, VCRs, that kind of thing, in the living room, set up in such a way that would suggest someone was preparing to take him out of the house. In the course of the investigation, we found out that what had happened was he had come in the first time and taken a pretty good cache of property from the victim's home, and then returned for more, and for whatever reason was motivated to take a bath, a bubble bath. And became so comfortable and tranquil that he fell asleep.
Sir. Sir, wake up. Sir.
Tubby time's over. We'll take Mr. Ducky with you.
If you got to transport a prisoner from the Fair Oaks area to the downtown jail, oftentimes their personal hygiene can be of a major concern, especially for two officers in a very close quarter patrol car.
ADC quiz number 32. A house burglar in Florida was captured when the homeowner found the burglar still in his home. What was the burglar doing? Was he A, making one last trip inside, B, struggling with a large TV set, or C, playing video games? The correct answer is C. Yes, he was about to make his high score in street fighting. Now, an honest but weird criminal confesses and admit it.
We had a disturbance call, and I pulled up to this, I think it was some kind of, it was a business or something, and guy comes and meets me at the car and says,
"Yeah, I did it, you got me, I'm guilty."
No, what's going on here, sir?
Don't play dumb with me, let's just get going, okay?
Yeah, sir, talk to me, just take him over here.
And he wasn't the one that they'd called about. He had gotten in an argument with his girlfriend somewhere down the street, and she had threatened to call the police.
I know it. I did it. And now it's time to go.
Would you like to have a seat in the car, sir?
That was just, that's not really unusual. He just a little odd.
And now a story we call Thinking and Driving. This is what happens when dumb criminals think and drive. 6 dumb criminals stole a car, sped away from the scene, and into this house. The suspects stumbled from the car, fell over the debris scattered around by the wreck, and were apprehended by the police. The officers then showed this car to the dumb criminals as an example of how to correctly park in the garage. Ironically, this was the second time in 4 months that this house had been hit by a car. One dumb criminal said in his defense, "Hey, if you don't like my driving, then stay off the lawn." Next, Daryl Price tells the semi-naked truth in Debriefing.
Back when I was in robbery investigator, we had a bank robbery at a bank up off South Boulevard. When we arrived, we got there, we were talking to the people, and then we got a call from the bowling alley about 1/10 of a mile away or so that there was a strange person in the bowling alley. So I rode down to the bowling alley, and in the laundry room of the bowling alley, there was a guy sitting there with nothing but a pair of briefs on, some tennis shoes, and he was just sweaty. I says, hey, what are you doing down here?
Yeah, I was out jogging and thought I'd come in here to cool off.
Stand up, sir.
I didn't want to look at his briefs, but he had a huge bulge right in the front of his briefs.
Sir, put your arms to the side. What's that?
It's me. I'm a lucky guy, huh?
So I walked up to him and kind of pulled it out, and it was just stuffed with money, all the bank robbery money. So, I mean, I knew he was the bank robber, and, you know, eventually we got him downtown, and he confessed to the bank robbery, but, you know, the only way we could get our money back was, you know, after we had debriefed him, basically.
Later on tonight's show, see our first hidden cam dumb criminal recruitment video. Next up, a Weisenheimer with no clue gets identified several times in So We Meet Again. Kirk Williams of the Randall County Sheriff's Department in Canyon, Texas, tells of a man who walked in a store one morning and paid for his purchases with a check. The clerk took the required information from the man's driver's license and put the check in the register. An hour later, the check casher was back, this time with a knife. He made no attempt to alter his appearance, and the clerk had no trouble remembering him. The clerk also had no problem remembering the robber's name and address, since he had written them on the dumb criminal's check in the register.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Is this a gentleman involved in armed robbery?
Yes, it is. This is the man that was just in here about 2 hours ago, waving a great big old knife at
I've never been in this place in my life.
Yes, you were. You
No,
were
was
here
it?
2 hours ago, mister.
You got mistaken
Waving, no, I'm
identity.
not mistaken. Oh, wait 1 minute. Just wait. Wait a minute.
What?
In this shoe? This is you. Get this clown out of here. This is his check.
What?
This is the
Come
fool
on.
that was just in here. I hope you rot in jail.
Just checking. Pretty dumb. In Louisiana, it used to be against the law to stand in a crowd and scream, "Snake." However, it was also against the law to tie tiny vipers into knots. Next up, Perry Knowles reports on a case called Taxing Driver.
Well, it just so happened I was working narcotics back in the mid-'70s, and myself and a fellow officer were working partners. We were looking for an area up in a housing project to try to find someone to buy some dope for us out of there so we could get some search warrants together. Well, we contacted this one individual, and back then the buy money you used to buy drugs is what you had in your pocket. There was no such thing as a fund for it. So we had about $15, $16 between the two of us, and we had this one individual said he could buy out of a particular apartment. So we give him the $15, and then be sure, remember, we don't front the money. So get the dope and come back, and we're going to watch you all the way.
So, don't give him the money till you get the drugs.
Okay, that's cool.
And if you come back without the drugs, you better come back with the money.
It's no problem. I mean, man, I'm with you.
Cool.
I'm with you.
So he goes over, spends a little time in the apartment, and comes back. He says, they want $20. I said, no, we're not going to give them 20. 15 is our limit. I said, well, better still, let's just call it off because we don't have any more money to invest in it. I said, let me have the $15 back. He said, well, they're holding the $15.
He did what?
He, I know what you said. No.
And I told you, we don't front money.
So I told him, I said, listen, I'm going to give you about an hour, and you better have our $15 back or we're going to put you in jail.
That's cool. I'll talk to the man.
1 hour.
I'll talk to the man.
And while we were busy doing other things, an armed robbery of an individual, our cab driver, goes out over the radio. So while we're up there in the area patrolling around trying to find the suspect for the robbery, dispatch advises us you have a party trying to contact you at another location just a couple of blocks away. So we immediately proceed over there, and there's our informant, dressed in the same clothes put out by the description of the robbery. He's sweating profusely. He says, I got your money. You ain't gonna put me in jail now, are you?
No, man. I just went got you.
We could have given you a ride.
And the same denomination of money that he gave us back, the $15, that's all he took off the cab driver.
What's up, man? Yeah, it's all here.
Yeah, it's all here. It's all here.
It's exactly what he was handing us back.
I think we're going to have to take you downtown. Don't you think?
No, I did what you wanted me to. Come on.
He was charged with that robbery.
Now we take you inside the courtroom for trial and error. From actual courtroom transcripts, a bank teller gives a detailed description of a getaway car she didn't see.
Mrs. Gray, you did not see the bank robber after he left the building, is that right?
No, I didn't.
And you did not see whether he fled on foot or by automobile?
That's right.
So how could you possibly have given an accurate description of the vehicle my client was driving?
The thief took my car. I guess I know what my own car looks like.
Later, a small-minded, big-time dumb criminal is just blowing smoke on America's dumbest criminals. For as long as there have been laws, there have been criminals. And for as long as there have been criminals, there have been chowderheads, simps, and goobers. J.R. Johnson remembers the day he met a dumb criminal in Of Mice and Men.
And we went to serve a warrant on this man, and I went up and knocked on the door. My partner was in the car. And I went up and knocked on the door, and the man came to the door.
You Mr. Schumann?
Yeah?
Mr. Schumann, I've got a warrant for your arrest. You didn't show up.
I told him that we had a warrant, and he said, I'm not going. And I said, no, you're going. And he said, well, it's going to take more than you. And I said, well, wait a minute, let me get my partner out here with me.
Well, go get your damn partner. I'll kick his butt, too. Yeah,
And so I went back to the car, and I told my partner that I needed him to come up there. And he was a large man. He was about 6'5" and 240. And he walked up and knocked on the door, and the man opened the door.
What now?
You're going downtown, that's what.
And the man passed out.
It's your arrest. You pick him up.
Now, actual police footage you won't believe. It's called We're Gonna Get You.
We came up with this little sting operation. We called it WGGY. What we did was we typed up some letters claiming to be a sports cable company that was coming to the Birmingham area here, and that we was having a party at the Civic Center. And these few select people were given an invitation to come to this party, and WGGY stands for We're Going to Get You. So that was our acronym for WGGY, and we, like I said, we typed up this letter to all these people, and we instructed them to bring this letter with them. And this letter had a confirmation number on it. Well, that was their actual warrant number. And also in there, we stated about the trip to New Orleans that we were giving away, and that it was being provided by We're Going to Take You Away travel agency. We were also giving away, everybody who came to this function was given 2 tickets to the Alabama-Auburn game.
Who's off Alabama?
And then the president of our company, he signed a letter, J.L. Bird. If you say that real fast and with a Southern accent, it's Jailbird. So we sent these letters out. We got into the files of, you know, we had old warrants, we had new warrants. We had a line out the door that went halfway around the block, people waiting to get in. We're ready now. Here we go. Look at the camera.
All right. WGGY has got me. What got me? Have they got you?
WGGY has got me. Did they got you?
Well, then we had the little tags with hello, I'm so-and-so. And we put hello, I'm John Doe, and my confirmation number is this. And we stamped it on them.
Thanks. Y'all have a good time.
Going around here, shake it, let's go. All right,
And he had his little podium. He was standing in front of them saying, well, he's glad everybody's here. Before we give away the trip to New Orleans, we got one more surprise team. And when he said that was the cue for the SWAT team guys to come in. They came in and we had them surrounded. To avoid any unnecessary incidents, we had a bunch of people with guns, but only 3 of them were loaded. We ended up, I think, like say my captain said he was going to be happy with 50 arrests. We ended up with about anywhere 250 to 300 arrests.
WGGY has me, do they have you?
In New York, it used to be against the law to travel by tricycle, unless you were a Hells Angels forming the DNA Golden Helix. Now, some gangster wannabes get deflated in a self-inflicted drive-by. In Oklahoma, a carload of gang members out for trouble cruised the streets in search of their rivals. Suddenly, they spotted their prey. Just as the shooter raised the gun, the car hit a pothole. The ride bounced, the gun fired, and the front tire blew. The gunman had shot out his own tire.
You blew the damn tire out. Did you know that, man?
When the police arrived, they found the stranded gang members fighting amongst themselves over the flat tire. Next up, Brad Burris recalls the man who redefined dumb in Getting Burned.
What was supposed to happen was him and his landlord, he lived in a little shotgun house, a little wooden frame house, and what was supposed to happen, she was throwing him out, she was evicting him, and what he was wanting to do, he went and got him a $10,000 renter's insurance policy. He was going to tell all his neighbors that he was going out of town for a couple of days, and the house is going to burn down, he's going to come back and collect his insurance and be done with it. Well, what happened was he's over here and I'm on this corner over here trying to serve a warrant at this house. He parks his car on this street, walks across the lot with two 5-gallon cans of gasoline, and in the back window it's up above his head. Luckily for him, it was above his head. So he pours the gas in there, and I don't know if you know about gas fumes. When they sit there for a while, they spread out. Well, he was going to just throw the match up there, it's going to catch on fire real easy, and he's going to walk back to his car and leave. Well, it blew the back of the house off. I'm sitting over there at the front porch, and I hear this boom. I look over, and the house is just totally involved in flames.
I got an explosion at 2213 Grantland Avenue.
And so he's got everybody's attention now.
I'm gonna need a fire truck, and I'm gonna need an ambulance.
I get over there, and I'm talking to him, and he smells like a pine tree. He's just real strong pine odor.
Short guy and a big guy. I think they was terrorists. They were wearing terrorist hats, and
I look in his car, and there's a can of pine air freshener sitting there. So the longer I talk to him, the more the pine tree smell wears off, and the gas smell starts coming out.
For 3 years, everything I've got in that cabinet's gone. I'm just glad I've got insurance. You'll have to excuse me just a minute.
Sir, we're not through yet. Sir.
On the way to the jail, he asked me, he goes, do you think my insurance is still going to cover my house?
In California, it used to be against the law to leave a boat on a flooded street. Hey, no parking there. No parking. Keep moving. Come on, come on. And with that, we come to the end of another show. Our continued thanks to police officers across the nation for their stories. I'm Daniel Butler saying, don't be dumb. Don't break the law.